What is up, everyone? Welcome back. And today I'm going to be breaking down, this just came to me in like a flash, if you will. You could call it a download. But basically, I have written here the mental model, essentially the diagram that I'm always using to describe manifestation. And what I'm going to get into today is cover the decision, how manifesting works as a decision. You could almost call this the decision model of manifestation. You could even call it, other people. So Vadim Zeland has called it intention. And shout out to Sam from Soul's Playground because she came out with a video talking about decisions. And I watched that several weeks ago and it was a great video. But upon further study and assimilating some of these ideas together, I came to the conclusion that we can manifest like on an ongoing basis by making decisions. And it starts with small decisions. And I'm going to explain. So here's what I want us to understand first and foremost. When we see this, how do I use this to describe manifesting? Well, I use it to describe, this is attachment theory, really. If you study attachment theory when it comes to relationships, they've come up with this idea that you have anxious people. Anxious people are the ones who are very needing, who are very craving of that outcome. As you can see the parallel in manifestation, right? The very attached to the outcome. And on the other side, you have avoidant, the person who is very fearful. They could be very fearful because they are attached, because they know that deep down they have been attached and they've maybe been hurt in the past. But in a lot of these situations, they tend to avoid dating in the example of relationship attachment theory altogether. So in the manifesting example, rather than going for the thing, believing that it's possible, these people would fall into the category of saying, I'm not good enough, the negative self-talk, the doubt, and this person might be prone to the same thing as well, but they also might be prone to the, but I need it type of energy. And both of these extremes are repelling to that thing. The only thing to get into alignment with that frequency is going to be the secure attachment. It's going to be, because if we think about this as there's different radio stations, you've got, 93.3, 104.7, 108.9, whatever they are, right? If you're in this, you're going to be entertaining thoughts of need, want, have to have. There's going to be that obsession with the how, but how, often preluded by the but how, right? And then with this one, you're going to have, I might as well do this down here, avoidant. So I could write AV for avoidant. This one is anxious, and this one is secure. This one you're going to have I can't, basically refusing to participate. I won't, never be able to have. Okay, there's this interesting phenomena that I actually found out about from, funny enough, like it's as it relates to, I don't know if this is actually related to politics, but I heard about it in a video talking about politics. It's called the horseshoe theory. And essentially what this says, it is a phenomenon that you hear about in politics, but essentially the idea of it is that here you have the far left, here you have the far right. And trust me, guys, this is not a political video. I'm not trying to talk about this. I'm just using this as an example to explain what I'm talking about with the attachment theory and this model of manifestation. And here you have the center. And this horseshoe theory goes to explain that actually the systems of governance, and when things get very, very extreme on the far left, they actually come around full circle almost. And it's actually extremely similar to how things would be in a very far right governance. The only, this goes back to what I discussed about in a recent video, that there's this law of polarity always exists, right? It's here. You see in the avoidant and the anxious. You see it with black and white thinking. Here in politics, you have it with the right or the left. And in the middle is where you have this more state of neutrality, this state where things can kind of exist in a way that's not so extreme, in a way that is really more neutral. And when you take that neutral approach, whether it's to your relationships or to your manifestations, that's when you begin to see a lot more success. When you have this very, very craving and needing energy towards your manifestations or towards that person or whatever it might be, we often find, right, that is actually what pushes it away. And the same thing with this, when we think we don't want it, we have to get away from it. That's why, like, what you resist persists. Neville Goddard's knot technique. If you're fighting against something and constantly saying, oh no, I don't want that, right? Like, I will not climb a ladder, or don't think of a black cat, of course, you can see what you begin to entertain. So the reason that I'm bringing this up is because we constantly are in a process of decision making throughout our day. From the moment that we gain consciousness, you could even argue that we're in a dream state, but from the moment that we wake up, and let's just draw out our day here, right? We're gonna draw out, let's get this pen writing. So we're gonna wake up. We might make ourselves some coffee. Then we might scroll online. Be honest with me though, you guys probably scroll online before you make your coffee. I'm guilty of the same lately, to be honest. Okay, so wake up, coffee, scroll. You're gonna go probably at some point. You're gonna get in your car. You're gonna drive, maybe run some errands. You're going to talk to, it could be your coworkers, talk to people at work or people in your business. At work, you're going to, have lunch. You may, at a certain point, right, you're going to be driving again. You're going to be engaging with other people during the day, right? Maybe you come home and maybe you're doing the dishes. Maybe then after that, you are going for a walk. Who knows, right? These are all just different examples of what we can do during the day. Common daily activities. You're going to go to the bathroom. Okay, really, really riveting and exciting stuff here, I know, guys. But the reason that I'm hashing all this out is because at every given moment, and this is another way of thinking about what are affirmations. Well, affirmations are another way of making a decision. Because every time that we affirm something, we're not making a petition to the universe or to God or to source or whatever you have that you want to refer to this as. You are claiming something to be. You are affirming it, which means that you are choosing. You are making a decision. And if we want to get really metaphysical about this, I could even go so far as to explain from the quantum physics perspective that we are collapsing these waves. When we make a decision, these waves collapse and then they turn into particles. And that's matter. And that every time we observe or interpret or measure or affirm, because every time we observe something, we're interpreting it. It goes through our lens of reality. We're making an interpretation, therefore we are making a claim. It is operating through our frame, and we always have different frames. There's multiple different ways, but of course, a lot of times you'll either perceive something to be positive or negative, and there's all in between, right? Everything operates really on a spectrum. You could also, perceive it to be neutral. But when we do this, this is the key right here. This is the juice. So as soon as we wake up, we decide, or we don't make a decision, right? But we are making a decision. As soon as we say anything, as soon as we have any determination about what it is that we're waking up saying, I have back pain. For all of us old fogies out here, we got back pain. But for anybody that is, it could be, I didn't get good sleep. It could be you got woken up by your alarm and you're like cursing at your alarm. Could be, I have to do all these, I have to do such and such, right? Okay, so you go throughout your day. That is when you're in your morning time, when you're doing this, when you're being reactive, when you're saying, I'm like not feeling the greatest, I got, this happening and this situation's going on and I don't feel that great, I don't have any energy. I know it sounds really simple and it sounds like really, really basic elementary school stuff that we're talking about when I specifically am talking about this, but you are making a claim. You are making a claim that is throwing you into either an anxious or an avoidant state. The more reactive you are, the more that you're going to be ping-ponging and likely to flip-flop back and forth between these, which are survival states. They're not helpful for not only your thoughts and your manifestations and your mental health, but they're also been proven scientifically to like down-regulate your cells and things. That's what Joe Dispenza talks about. And obviously, it's a well-known established fact at this point in time that your mental health impacts your physical health. So that's really beyond even what we're talking about. But we make these decisions, right? We're making a decision. The opposite decision we could say is say, hey, look, well, yeah, you could maybe acknowledge something that's going on. Say, okay, I'm going to choose right now to focus on making a great cup of coffee right now. I'm about to whip up the best cup of coffee, right? Say that you're onto this now. Maybe you've just gone on to the next because maybe when you wake up, you're in such a state of reactivity that you catch yourself afterwards and you're like, okay, from now on I'm going to make the best damn coffee I can. And I always make the best coffee. You could tell yourself, hey, look, I've got the best roast in here. I've got the, right now we're drinking this Peet's coffee and it's good. It's good stuff. I'm making Peet's. I'm about to set the day off amazingly. I'm about to get so much work done. Today's going to be fun. It's going to be easy. When you are engaging with some of these other activities here, there's something that I came across recently, which is that in Zoroastrianism, which honestly I'm not that familiar with this stuff, just something that came across to me lately. They had these things called gathas, which are basically like little mini poems that you say as you're doing something. So if you were walking, and even if could be even like right after you get out of bed and you begin to walk to the kitchen, you decide that's where the decision component comes into this. You decide and say, hey, I am walking with a pep in my step right now. I've got the wind at my back and nothing's going to stop me today. I'm about to walk into the best day ever. In fact, I just stepped out of the bed. Forget a bad hair day. I'm looking like $1 million right now. And I'm about to make $1 million. Because that's my destiny. And that's what I'm here to do. And with every step that I take, I'm getting more and more energy and more vibrance and more enthusiasm towards committing to my goals, towards seeing them through, towards showing up in the best way possible today. So you have this opportunity at any given time, and you will become aware of as you're moving your body. You like one of the walking. There's a walking meditation that I have written here that I'm gonna read off to you guys. It's my mind can go 1,000 directions. Now I walk in peace. Each step creates a warm breeze. With each step, a lotus blossoms. So you can get really poetic with this stuff. Like it sounds maybe over the top, but really, when we have a choice of thinking and entertaining whatever thoughts we want, surely we're going to be better thinking that with each step that we walk, a lotus blossoms, than thinking that like being all frazzled and being like thinking all these negative thoughts, with this type of thing, we're actually going to pay attention to the way that we walk. We're going to walk with grace. We're going to carry ourselves in a very upright and confident way. in a respectful way, in a way that shows self-respect for ourselves, not running hither and yon, looking like we got a chicken with our head cut off type of look, which is what you see with many people nowadays. When you watch people, it's like they're zombies, like looking at their phone. They're not truly here and now and present. And so mindfulness, which is another way of thinking about this, and this is actually another way of talking about being present to the moment, like what Eckhart Tolle talks about in The Power of Now. But during any given opportunity, I can get this camera set up here. I can get this whiteboard set up, and I can be thinking like, oh, I don't know if this video is going to be good, and the lighting's not good, and I never have the good enough ideas for these YouTube videos, and everybody else on YouTube is just making it look easy, and I don't know how to make the lighting doesn't look good. I could come up with a thousand reasons to tell myself why, or affirm to myself, or decide, because those are decisions that I'm making about what I'm saying about my reality, what I'm claiming to be true about my reality. So instead, I tell this, as I was doing this, as I was setting this up, because it's here in the evening right now, and I wasn't sure if the lighting was going to look good or not. I was telling myself, you know what? I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to get the lighting looking good. I'm going to make this lighting look great. And if it doesn't look great, it'll just look even that much better in the next video, because this is a work in progress. This is all a process, and I'm becoming better and better at filming these videos. And in fact, these whiteboard videos that I'm doing, now I'm getting my ideas. They're helping me come up with more ideas, because as I stand and speak to the camera, and then I'm able to clarify what it is that I'm writing down on the board, now my ideas are getting refined, and now I'm able to look and reflect about what I'm talking about and connect all the dots even better. That's even more helpful for everybody that's watching this, right? These are all decisions that I'm able to make in regard to the activity that I'm engaged in right now. But this goes for anything. This goes for any single thing. You could be making yourself a sandwich. You could be making yourself a sandwich saying that, hey, look, this protein right now is going to fuel my body and make me so strong and give me so much energy going into the next segment of my day, whether it is the work, whether it is that I am planning my day for tomorrow, or that I'm simply having dinner with a loved one. I'm fueling my body. I'm about to have this amazing conversation. And this is all ongoing. And that's why I'm so big on, affirming. Affirming is just one word for really just creating your reality is what's going on. It is manifesting. It is deciding. Because manifestation is all about deciding. It's all about claiming in your consciousness what it is that you want, what it is that you're deciding, how you're interpreting these things. You have a lens. This is lens 1 and this is lens 2. Here I've written this frames, but that's what they are. They're lenses through which you see reality. And when you begin to see reality through this lens, say this is a cloudy lens, you got your clouds, you got your rains, it's storming. And then this one, it's all sunshine. It's all sunshine and rainbows, baby. Because you could be looking at the same thing. I could be looking at this situation that I'm in right now in regards to my house, because I'm working on this house that I'm getting built. And I could be thinking, oh man, these things never work out well. There's always so many delays with every project that I try to get involved into. People are always trying to get as much money out of me as they can. There's a million different roads I could go down with on this. But then there's another way I can look at this. When I'm experiencing delays, when I'm experiencing setbacks or challenges and whatever it is that I'm doing, with this house, for example, I can think to myself, this whole situation has actually allowed me to spend more time with my family. The fact that the house hasn't gotten built yet is more time, and it's a learning experience. It's teaching me how to work with people better. It's teaching me how to vet people better. It's teaching me how to be aware of the pitfalls of working with people. And it's teaching me how to better communicate what is okay and what is not okay when it comes to getting a job done, when it comes to getting something handled. It's teaching me how to set my own personal boundaries. And it's in real time showing me what works and what doesn't work when it comes to working on a project of this scale. And it's also building my emotional resilience. I can claim that this thing is so overwhelming and so, such a burden when it comes to any of these things, right? This could go for anything, insert, this is like a placeholder. You could insert this for a relationship or getting in the gym or working on your craft or making your videos, right? This could be literally anything. Working, like having your career or, sticking through with that diet, getting your physique. You could think this is actually showing me that I have what it takes to stand up and actually do this and see this thing through. And this is actually a grounds where I can improve myself, where I can show up in that way that I know that reality is going to reflect back what I put in. When I put in an input, I know that I'm going to get a certain output. So this is allowing me to refine. This is allowing me to chisel my character like a video game character or like a sculpture. I'm chiseling at the clay. I'm whittling down all the imperfections, and I know that I'm a resilient person that's able to handle more and more stress, that's able to take on more and more, that's able to accomplish more and more and more, because I'm building that resilience and I'm becoming anti-fragile. And actually, the more things that happen that get in my way, or the more challenges or the more obstacles, that's actually making me stronger and ready to attack and ready to challenge and win the war. You know, I may lose this battle here, or lose the battle, or let's say that I might not get, I might get rejected by this certain one thing or this certain opportunity, but that just means that now I'm finding even more paths to go down. I'm like water, I'm dynamic, and I'm gonna move towards any single path, and I'm gonna clear a path if need be for me to attain and get to the outcome that I want. And that's what goes back first and foremost with this whole thing, is who do you wanna be? Do you wanna be somebody that is securely attached, that feels secure, that feels like it is possible for you to achieve what you want? And if so, what is it that you want? First of all, define that vision. You're gonna have to sit down. You're gonna have to write it out. You're gonna have to put some thought into this. Really take some time to yourself. Get out of this reacting to the 3D all the time and get back into the center here and explore for yourself what that is for you. We get sucked in and pulled into these social media like loops, and there's these feedback loops, and we think that we are making decisions, but it's actually we're allowing decisions to be made for us. Even by tuning in with these apps and the social media, it's like we're literally handing all of our decision-making power, and therefore our manifesting power, away to these third-party, these people, these apps, these programs, and now we're letting them install the programming for us. This whole mode of decision-making and making lots of decisions and deciding goes back to, and on an ongoing basis, remembering and reclaiming that power that you get to decide. You get to decide how you interpret any event. You get to decide how you're going to walk, how you're going to carry yourself. You get to be present to the moment and be focused and decide with what type of attitude and with what type of way are you going to go about doing this? And how is it that you hold yourself? How is it that you stand? How is it that you think? How is it that you speak? These are all things that you get to decide. I was watching a video of myself earlier, and I noticed myself saying, a lot. These kind of filler words that we have, like and. And for me, I was saying, after a bunch of sentences. Well, now that I've observed that, now that I've gotten feedback on that, now I can watch this video, or now I can make the decision that I'm not going to be saying all these useless filler words so much, that I'm going to be speaking more to the point, that I'm going to be speaking more succinctly and therefore more impactfully, more powerfully, because I'm able to speak exactly what I want to say. I don't need to rely on extra words to take up space because I'm unsure. I decide that I am sure of myself as I speak. I am sure of myself as I make these videos. And I am, even if there's certain times, that's another thing. And it's another catch-all decision that you can make, is that even if there's times that I feel doubt, even if there's times that I feel negative emotions, I know that it doesn't necessarily get in my way. It doesn't have to stop me from accomplishing what it is that I want. I can still have doubt, I can have fear, I can have anxiety, I can feel all of this crazy mess of emotions and still come back to center and still know that I'm going to get what I want, or still just even know that I'm going to get what I want, even if I feel like I'm going in a place that is, like I'm going through some emotional turmoil. And there I just caught myself saying, again. But, see, and there I can go right there. I can say, even though I just keep saying, it doesn't mean that I'm going to keep saying it. I know that I am going to be able to speak without relying on verbal crutches. I'm going to be able to speak with clarity. I'm going to be able to speak with purpose. I'm going to be able to speak with conviction. So these are all just, I hope that this makes sense. A lot of the times when it comes to this stuff, I hear a lot of the same type of information getting repeated and getting said over and over again. And this might be more of that, but this makes sense to me in the way that when we decide that, like, for using the word affirmation, or for using the word visualization, or using the word script, or using the word intention, as Vadim Zeland says, he says manifesting is all about intention, and he uses these different kinds of models of intention that he has, which is external and internal. Internal is based more upon your inner effort, the efforting, or the external effort, sorry, whereas paradoxically, external intention is more about the knowing it into being, the believing that it is done, the exercise of the imagination to declare. But that is another way, in my opinion, when you intend to raise your arm, when you intend to go get your mail from the mailbox, when you intend to go make that cup of coffee, you're making a decision. And it's also your decision, the way in which you're going to do it. Are you going to do it like a boss, or are you going to do it like you're completely unsure and unconfident about where your cup of coffee is coming from, or you don't even know, like, your mailbox? The more that you embody confusion, the more that you are going to be enter into a confused state, the more that your external reality is going to reflect that confusion back to you. That's why making decisions is such a key component. The opposite of deciding is being confused and not making a decision. And the issue that we run into is that we think that by not making a decision, we're going to be safe. But not making a decision is another form of a decision. And when you come to realize entropy, which is essentially the state at which everything in the universe tends towards decay, you're either shrinking or you're growing. So every time you refuse to make a decision, you're shrinking. Every time you make a decision, you're growing. And some people, when you start making decisions, it could be going like this. You might not notice anything, some bumps. Okay, here, it looks like a graph, right? You might even dip down. But sooner or later, you start to grow. And then eventually, if you really pursue it long enough, you're going to get that exponential hockey stick growth that they talk about in business, that people talk about, like Sam Ovens, or like some of these really great people in business that I watch their videos on online. This is what you're fighting against. You're fighting against this state of entropy that exists. It's just part of the universe. When you leave your car out, it's going to rust. The body tends towards age. The garden in the back, the weeds start growing. Everything in the universe tends towards entropy. You become a negentrophic force by making decisions in a positive way that is in alignment with your goals, that is in alignment with who it is that you want to become on an ongoing basis. And it's a daily practice. It's a daily reminding yourself that you get to choose. You get to choose how you want to show up. You get to choose how you want to stand up. You get to choose how you want to sit up out of bed this morning. Like this guy, the Power of I Am, I believe his name is Eric. He is always talking about, I've watched a few videos on his channel and they're really good, but he's always talking about, I am perfect. I am chosen. I'm always the most wanted person in the room, or I'm always this, or I'm always that. He's just declaring. These are all just ongoing decisions that he's making throughout his day. And then he notices when he's coaching his clients and stuff, they come back and tell him, hey, I started doing your stuff. I started doing your affirmations. I am perfection. I am all that is. I am the best. And I noticed that this is happening. I noticed reflections of this going on in my 3D, because every single time you declare, you are deciding that is true for you. Every single time that you affirm that, you are deciding that it's true. And that's what happens is as soon as we begin to make these decisions, we might get negative feedback. We might make a decision. We might say something to somebody and they might say, you really think you're all that? But that's the whole point of this, is that by engaging and making decisions, that's how we get feedback. And that's how we're actually able to eventually get all this growth. If I just went to the gym and I said, I'm gonna bench this, but I couldn't finish the rep. I couldn't do as many sets or as many reps as I wanted to of this particular exercise, bicep curl. And now I just gave in and said, I failed. I'm a failure, blah, 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 right? Woe is me. The story continues, right? Then what kind of decision? I'm making a decision that is true for me. There's nobody that goes to the gym or accomplishes anything that's worthwhile without experiencing some failure, without experiencing some challenges along the way, without figuring things out as they go. So that's really the difference, you know, the stick-to-itiveness. Are you going to stick to it and see it through, or are you going to start with the negative self-talk, go down this road and say all this stuff? And it's, you know, it's okay because we're all human, right? But we always have that ability to make that better decision, to make that better choice. That's saying, hey, you know, even if I am angry right now, or even if I fell off the bandwagon, even if I did this, even if I did that, it doesn't change the fact that I still have the ability to get back on it right now. If I've missed the whole past month of going to the gym, doesn't mean that I can't get back in there right now. It doesn't mean that I can't wake up next morning, take my pre-workout and get my ass down there. If I skipped out on doing whatever it is that I knew that I should have done, okay, no need for the self flagellation or whatever. It's just like, okay, well, you know, today is a new day and I get to make this decision, and I don't have to let that define me as being something. I don't have to make that decision to say that that means something negative about me. I can also make the decision that says, hey, you know what, I'm learning. You know what, I'm going to use that as all the more reason why I'm going to double down on this activity now. Why I'm going to double down on this, why I'm going to do this exercise. I'm going to plan my year. I'm going to actually get this right written exercise down. I'm going to write down exactly what it is that I'm going to be manifesting for the next couple months here before the end of the year. Or I'm going to plan out my 2025. I'm going to write out exactly what my biggest 10 goals are for the year of 2025, right? It's all about decision making. It's all about how you're interpreting something, and the way that you're interpreting something, the perspective, the frame through which you see it is the decision that you have made, that you are claiming about your reality. And that is what is collapsing these waves into matter. That is what's collapsing the 4D into the 3D. With that being said, guys, much love as always. Hit the link down below if you guys are interested in getting on the list. You're going to be added to an email list where you're going to be able to download the ebook when it comes out. If you guys are interested in picking that up, download that, and I will see you guys. Let me know down below how you like this video, if you found this helpful, if you found it dope, if you thought that it was confusing. I'm working on these whiteboard videos, and hopefully they begin to get better and better. In fact, I'm going to decide right here and now that they're going to get better and better, and I'm going to really make this process something that is actually helping to convey these ideas in an even better, more digestible, easier to understand manner. So with that being said, much love, drop this with a like, and I will see you guys in the next video.